'Twas the night before the new king, and all across the land, not a feeling was stirring except suspense for something grand. But then, across the blowing winds came the roaring sound from a legendary monument with lions abound. The sun rose into the sky, filling it with light, as animals traveled to a spectacular sight. The mighty Pride Rock, home of the lion pride, and the location of a scene very famous worldwide. King Mufasa met Rafiki, and they greeted each other before turning to Queen Sarabi, who was now a mother. In her paws lay a cub so adorable and sweet, but to everyone around him was a special treat. Rafiki took the baby, caressing him in his hands, before raising him into the sky, spreading cheer across the lands. For the kingdom's occupants, they knew what he would bring, for this was Simba, their future king. A fantastic ceremony, filled with much glee, but amongst the shadows was someone so mean. Scar, the younger brother to Mufasa, was fueled with rage, for his chances of being king could no longer wage. Years go on, and Simba learns from Dad his important role as king, which his ancestors once had. Simba was ecstatic, he couldn't wait to be king, to which a sarcastic Zazu said, an uninspiring thing. Simba was filled with joy at the prospects of all this, but Scar found an opportunity that he should not miss. Tricking his nephew and Nala, the cub's betrothed best friend, he misled them to go to a place that would surely be the end. The elephant graveyard, which they weren't allowed to go, for hyenas were there, and not for a show. They chased the two cubs while mocking Simba's roar, but soon found that their chances for food were poor. Mufasa appeared and kicked their laughing butts, causing them to flee. Against him, they had no guts. Returning home and furious with his son, Mufasa had a stern talk with him. But then it turned fun. The father and son looked into the stars, where the great kings of the past are said to watch from afar. A beautiful evening with a starry sky, where Mufasa then said, "They'll be there to guide you, and so will I." Back with Scar, he met with his lackeys, very mad that their attempt to kill Simba failed, thanks to the cub's dad. He promised that once he was in charge, the hyenas would have food in amounts very large. Now determined and their evil ambitions bared, Scar told his minions to be prepared. The plot now at hand, and in a different place, Scar led Simba to a gorge and told him face to face that his father had something special, so he left to go get him, with Simba unaware that things were to turn grim. Above the gorge, the hyenas waited in anticipation until Scar gave them the signal without hesitation. Down below, the ground began to quake, before Simba saw something that truly made him shake. A wildebeest stampede charging straight toward his way, forcing Simba to run and find safety post-haste. Mufasa was warned by his brother of the chaos that had begun, and with no regard for his safety, he rushed in to save his son. Fighting his way through the herd, he made it to his boy, and struggled to get him out, unaware of Scar's ploy. Saving Simba's life, but finding himself stuck, Mufasa leaped towards a wall, but he didn't have good luck. High above the canyon was Scar, ready to bring the end of his brother with the words, "Long live the king." Mufasa was thrown from the big height, where he met his doom, and his body was found by Simba, in a scene very gloom. The heartbroken cub cried for his father to awaken, but he saw it was no use, and all hope was forsaken. Scar appeared before his nephew, and having no remorse, said this was Simba's fault, and this made things worse. He urged the cub to run away and never return, a suggestion which Simba took before the hyenas took their turn. They chased the cub with the intent to kill, but lost him to a thorn bush with barely any skill. Simba kept running into the desert all alone, while Scar went back to Pride Rock and assumed the throne. The hyenas were allowed into the land, and this caused some fright, and sadness overcame the pride all through the night. Meanwhile, on the hot desert, exhausted and down, Simba lay unconscious, attracting vultures around. But help was at hand, because 2 outcasts rushed in to bowl for some buzzards and save Simba's skin. Timon and Pumbaa, the meerkat and warthog team, agreed to keep Simba, for protection it would seem. Upon learning Simba's tragic loss, the duo took pity and guided the cub into their jungle city. Here the lovable duo made Simba's sadness scurry with their motto, Hakuna Matata, which means no worries. Feeling much better, Simba stayed with his friends, and it seemed at first that his guilt was put to an end. But time and again, his feelings turned sad, for in this carefree life, he really missed his dad. But unbeknownst to him, someone found out that he was still alive, causing hope to sprout. To the wise and crazy Rafiki, this discovery was sublime, and taking his stick, he said that it was time. Back in the jungle, Pumbaa followed his lunch, but was chased by someone who wanted to crunch. A hungry lioness chased the pig and Timon across the jungle before Simba appeared, ready to rumble. Fighting this cat, he put up a good battle, before discovering something that made his thoughts rattle. This lioness, so strong and tough, was his old friend Nala, having grown and now buff. Joyous to see each other again, the two fell in love, leaving Timon and Pumbaa to sob, but this was not enough. Nala told Simba what Scar had done to the Pride Lands, and said Simba was their hope if they were to take a stand. Simba, consumed with his guilt, refused and went off alone, depressed and upset, as it was clearly shown. But in the branches nearby, a crazy monkey sang a song, which was annoying to Simba, but this didn't last long. Old Rafiki revealed that Mufasa was okay, and told Simba to follow him, for he knew the way. Following the mandrill to a pond, his reflection was in view, before Rafiki uttered the words, "He lives in you." On cue, Mufasa appeared high in the dark sky, a truly shocking sight that nearly makes Simba cry. The ghost told Simba that his time to return was now, before vanishing and leaving his son to figure out how. "The past can hurt," Rafiki explained, "but you can learn from it." And on these words, courage was regained. On Simba, on Nala, on Pumbaa, on Timon, together they traveled before reaching Simba's home. Scar's reign had made the kingdom a horrid mess, and put the lion pride under a lot of stress. Confronting his uncle and ready to attack, Simba spooked Scar, who couldn't believe he was back. But Scar was not going down easy, and with his brain, he taunted Simba over Mufasa's death, which caused some strain. A bolt of lightning zapped the ground, starting a fire, and with Simba cornered, the situation turned dire. Believing he had won, Scar whispered into Simba's ear that he killed Mufasa, proving it was a lie all these years. Furious and angry, Simba forced Scar to tell the truth, starting a vicious fight with both claw and tooth. Simba cornered his uncle, while the others fought to finish all the trouble that Scar had wrought. Blaming the hyenas for everything, Scar refused to quit, but in the ensuing showdown, he was thrown into a pit. The surviving hyenas surrounded the fallen tyrant and ripped him to shreds in a manner most violent. Back with the heroes, with the rain pouring down, they congratulated Simba, relief spreading around. With his enemies gone, and the battle at last done, Simba climbed Pride Rock and roared, knowing he had won. Later on, with Nala, Timon, and Pumbaa by his side, Simba looked out at the cheering animals below with pride. He had done his father proud and was ready to bring eternal peace to the land as the new Lion King. The circle of life continued, with things now all right. Hakuna Matata for all, and to all a good night.